There's an awful lot of criticism, it has to be said, about what this budget will achieve and the gamble it is taking with the public finances.
Well, I don't agree with that. I think the real gamble would be maintaining levels of tax that are inappropriately high, which risk deterring investment, which risk disincentivising hard work, and which risk driving individuals and companies out of the United Kingdom. By having competitive tax rates, we're encouraging people to work, encouraging them to invest, and encouraging people and businesses to locate here in the UK. It's a plan for growth that will get our economy moving, that will lift people's wages, create the jobs of the future, create more investment, and ultimately generate the tax revenues that will sustainably fund our public services like health, education and the police.
Isn't it fair to say that, certainly following on from the leadership campaign, that a lot of people were expecting this budget to be extremely bold, but to provide more immediate help for those people who are so desperately in need at the moment, and that isn't there?
Well, I again respectfully disagree. So let's start with what we've already done. The national minimum wage for people on low earnings went up by 7% in April. We've increased the national insurance threshold to £12,500, which means for people on lower incomes, they're paying almost no income tax and almost no national insurance. That's really important. With the energy crisis, we've put in place already this year a £37 billion package. And for the people on the 1/3 of lower incomes, that's about 8,000 families, we're providing £1,200 worth of help. And then in addition to that, the new government, just a week or so ago, or a week and a half ago, introduced the energy guarantee, so the average household won't pay more than £2,500 this year. There were obviously concerns it would go way, way higher. So a huge range of measures designed to help people on lower incomes. But yesterday's growth plan cut taxes, cut personal taxes, as well as holding down company taxes for everybody, for rich and poor alike. And when this growth plan delivers higher growth, that will help everybody, rich and poor. It'll help the entire economy, and that's why growth is so important.
Kindest critics in today's newspapers, for instance, are saying it's a massive risk. And, you know, it's not long, really, until the next general election. How soon will we really feel that we are seeing benefits from yesterday's mini-budget?
Well, the real risk is having tax rates that are uncompetitive and growth that is too low. That is the real risk. So the growth plan set out yesterday really is a necessity. It's not a choice, it's not a gamble, it is a necessity. We have no choice but to increase our level of national growth to improve the standards of living and the incomes of citizens in the United Kingdom and to build a better future. I think some of these measures will start having an effect straight away. The objective is to increase our annual growth rate by 1% per year into the medium term. And that's not just about tax, it's about energy. So we're too dependent, frankly, on energy that comes from overseas. Putin's illegal invasion of Ukraine has showed that. That's why we're going to be speeding up Sizewell, Hinkley Point, small modular reactors. We're going to be drilling more in the North Sea for oil and gas, as well as investing in renewable energy. We're going to be speeding up infrastructure projects, road and rail. It's crazy that it can take 5 to 7 years to get a new road project off the ground. We're getting all that sped up, and we're going to set up investment zones the length and breadth of the country. And my colleague, the Deluxe Secretary, Simon Clarke, has been on the phone to, I think, 38 different local authorities up and down the country talking about getting those sites set up as quickly as possible. So this is an urgent plan, it's an immediate plan, it's also a necessary plan to make sure this country has a bright and prosperous future. And that's why we've done it after 2.5 weeks. Right, the first thing we did, the new government, was the energy guarantee, and the second thing is the growth plan.
You can understand the criticism, though, can you? I mean, you're a reasonable man, Chris Philps. You can understand why a lot of people watching and listening may say, well, look, if you earn £150,000, £200,000, you're going to see a substantial benefit by April next year, and the rest of us aren't. I mean, there does seem to be greater benefits for the already well-off.
Well, hang on a sec. I mean, these tax cuts are for everybody. Everyone is getting a national insurance tax cut. Everyone is getting an income tax cut. Everyone across in the whole country who's working are getting those tax cuts. Right. So that's a very important point to mention. Secondly, the removal of the 45p additional rate tax band. The cost of that is only about 1/20th. It's 5% of the fiscal value of the measures announced yesterday. So I don't accept that it's unreasonably skewed. These are tax cuts for everybody. They'll get the whole economy moving, and that will benefit everyone. And by the way, don't forget that people on higher incomes are already paying very high levels of tax. The top 1% of earners pay approximately 28% of all income tax. So we've got to make sure we are competitive internationally, and that people who are mobile can choose where to work, choose to come and work here in the UK.